Hello. Hello again. Welcome. I'm going to see if Auntie Mickey is coming on. Annabelle's was so fun. Oh my God. So listen, let's do some catching up too on Andrew and stuff. Okay. FBI speaks out about Nancy Guthrie. Okay. Wait, I've got to show you this. Meghan Markle is okay. Welcome. Come on in. Welcome. We're going to talk about a few things. Little bit won't take her medicine. She won't. So I'm going to let you guys a few more minutes to get on in. Where are we? Let's get to 7,000. I know that's right. Annabelle said she's going to help me get there. What about that? Some people subscribe. Happy hour was way fun. Hello, highly sensitive. How are you? Welcome. Come on in. 641. Come on. I can do better. Hello, highly sensitive. I'm going to talk about a few things and then maybe an hour, maybe 30 minutes, and then I'll let you lovely people go. But I wanted to get back on and talk about Andrew. Let me see if Auntie Mickey's coming on tonight. No, she hasn't been on in a couple of days. Anyway, I'm going to have to check on Auntie Mickey. I haven't seen her. Auntie Mickey, what's going on, girlfriend? Hello, Lisa. Welcome. Lovely. Welcome to the Mimi Show. I'm going to pull it up really quick. Hold on. No new news on Nancy Guthrie. Oh, Annabelle is so kind. I had so much fun with Annabelle. She's a darling. Okay, here we go.
Regarding Andrew, I think he should be treated like everybody else. If this was like your next door neighbour and you found out that he'd been
Now, Brendan O'Neill, the reason that I love your writing so much for Spiked Online and The Spectator is that it does make me think. And very often you are prepared to go to places where others don't. And I think really go against the mob, which is something that can be particularly difficult in our current media environment. And you did it this week over Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince.
Wait.
It's so messy in regards to the Markle family situation, Tom, because Thomas Markle Jr., who is a YouTuber now, Thomas Markle Jr. and Friends is his YouTube channel. And look, he's an outspoken guy. And you know I like outspoken people, okay? But he has now, in his emotion over what his father has gone through, and I think to some consternation from other family members, gone public and blasted Meghan.
Long story short, all right, I do blame Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, the shit stain of humanity. Yes, Meghan, and I hope you're watching right now. I hope you're watching, Meghan, because you are the shit stain of fucking humanity. I hope people spit in your face when they see you walking down the street. I hope, they throw human feces at you because of how you really are as a person inside.
And look, I know there's a lot of rhetoric and some people won't enjoy that. But Thomas Markle Jr. is speaking from his heart. And I do think he rightly reminded the world how ashamed Meghan should be after everything her father did for her. Watch.
And I want it to be known worldwide, that the man who did everything for her and she threw away like a piece of dog shit stuck to the bottom of her shoe, Meghan, you should be ashamed of yourself to show your face in public. I hope people look at you and point from now on. That's that soulless, evil fucking bitch. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh, I'm so sorry. Allegedly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that Thomas Markle Jr. is entirely entitled to express his opinion. Of course, neither you nor I would ever endorse anyone throwing anything at Meghan, and
it's a criminal act, isn't it? It's a criminal act, and it
goes without saying. And I think that, but more to the point, Dan, what I think is that I think Thomas Markle could be the most brilliant advocate for his father, but I think that sometimes by slipping into this kind of language, frankly, he undermines his own position. I do know that it's a massive problem if your global brand rests on virtues of warmth, of family, of compassion. If you're unable to forgive your father for a stupid mistake that he accepts he made before the wedding when he took money from a photographer.
Exactly.
Thomas Markle could be the most brilliant advocate for his father, but I think that sometimes by slipping into this kind of language, frankly, he undermines his own position.
I'm not going to be ignored, Dan. I'm not going to be ignored, Dan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. Well, today I am going to touch on Harry and Meghan in Jordan and give you some insight, a little bit of a different perspective on what Meghan is actually doing. Because I think you can read all the stories about what they're doing, where they're going, who decided not to see them, and all the things that are happening behind the scenes around that. However, to understand what Meghan is doing, I think will give some clear insight into why they are in Jordan, why they're on this tour. Okay, let's get into it.
So I will say, from my standpoint, I was very, very fortunate at a young age to feel as though my voice was being heard.
Here she go.
And I
So
think that is a
commercial.
luxury that a lot of young girls and women aren't often afforded. I was 11 years old, and you may know this story. I had seen a commercial that I felt was sexist, and I wrote a letter, several letters about it, and the commercial was changed.
Sexist.
When you're 11 years old and you realize very quickly that your small voice can have a very large impact,
Oh
I think
my
it creates
God.
the framework to feel empowered to use your voice because you know you're being listened to. Doesn't ever feel good to use your voice and no one hears you, and no one hears you, and no one hears you.
The one thing that I think is really important.
And the commercial was changed. When you're 11 years old and you realize very quickly that your small voice can have a very large impact, I think it creates the framework to feel empowered to use your voice because you know you're being listened to. Doesn't ever feel good to use your voice and no one hears you, and no one hears you, and no one hears you.
The one thing that I think is really important, you have to look at the messaging that Meghan had started from the very beginning, since going into the royal family, even when she spoke on that stage with William and Catherine, when it was the Fab Four.
Women don't need to find a voice.
Yeah.
They have a voice. They need to feel empowered to use it, and people need to be encouraged to listen.
Meghan went rogue during that whole get together and talking about mental health, and she went off on a tangent about women and having their voices heard. You know, we see Meghan and Harry going over to Jordan, doing things that are inappropriate. Even the king of Jordan did not want to meet with Harry and Meghan. But we have to understand is Meghan has been messaging things because she wants people to understand the role she is playing in all of this.
And what is that?
Meghan talks about voices being heard. Why she left the royal family or wanted to leave the royal family is because the crown was not going to allow Meghan to have her voice heard because it wasn't about Meghan. It was about the institution. And Meghan didn't like that. And so this is why she came up with all these reasons to want to leave. And now, fast forward to where we see Meghan and Harry in Jordan doing this quasi-royal tour. And Meghan's yet again talking about having voices heard. She did it on...
I think Meghan was leaving anyway. She did not want to be in the UK. She had already had planned to leave. She was setting up deals with Netflix and Spotify and Oprah. She was hooking it up. She was never staying in England.
Her other trips. And this is the messaging. She is trying to send a message, I believe, to the royal family, because think about it. If she is saying all of these things to the people that are in these rooms, knowing that the press is going to pick it up, it gets amplified and it gets eventually to the royal family what this woman is doing. So when she sits and speaks at these events on these stages, she knows it's not just something that she is saying to the people in this immediate area. She knows this is going to get back to the royal family. And I believe a message to them that she wants her voice heard. She will continue doing these things that are going to sidestep Harry and his family and what they believe should happen. This is why she is doing these tours, because this is spearheaded by Meghan. This is not something that Harry would even, I believe, want to do, knowing that it is harmful to do these type of tours outside of
the royal
palace.
Norm.
And so Meghan is sending a message about what she...
Who the hell do they think they are going on these fake royal tours and trying to represent the royal family? It is disgusting. No one told her to do that. It's not what they are supposed to be doing. It's a big fat no-a-do.
She is doing about her voice being heard in the royal family, but are listening up to what she is saying.
Like what?
Because at the end of the day, since when does Meghan feel that she needs to have her voice heard about what? People hear her voice all the time.
Yeah, and
she's not fighting on behalf of young girls and boys whose voices aren't being heard. This woman gets her voice heard all the time. She's not locked up in a cage saying, "Get me out. I want my voice heard. I want people to hear what I got to say."
She said that the royal family made her lose her voice like Ariel, the Little Mermaid, when she lost her voice. That's word on the curb.
Her voice is amplified loud and clear. So why is she saying this continually? And who is she fighting on behalf of? Which girls is she trying to help get their voices heard? What, the Girl Scouts?
She ain't helping nobody. Meghan's not a helper. How is she going to help someone when her father's over there in the Philippines with one leg? Is she supposed to be helping? She's this wonderful, wonderful woman that comes out. She's this humanitarian. She's going to help all these women. What women? What made up fictitious boneyard story Meghan is going to come up with next? She's a fraud. And if I was King Charles, I would have sent word over there that they're coming over there at their their ownness. What does she think she's doing? It's just weird too. Right after Andrew goes to jail. You know what I'm saying? Now here she going to Jordan. To do what? To prove what? To pretend to do what? That you care about these people? They mean nothing to you. She's a fake-a-do.
In this movie that they bought rights to and trying to have the girls who are selling cookies, that had nothing to do with their voices being heard. That is a multi-million-dollar organization that has been working with young girls and for years.
Meghan is a fraud-a-do.
They don't need Meghan to come in to help make a difference. But it's this constant, I'm trying to solve a problem for people who don't have their voices heard, which is an outright lie. And Meghan right now, what she is doing is that she is trying to tell the royal family, I'm still here now in America, distant from the royal family. If you want me to be anywhere where you're going to be allowed to control things that I'm doing with Harry, you better listen to me. Loud and clear, this is what Meghan is saying. She's not fighting on behalf of nobody. I don't know anybody, any girl, any organization of women. I mean, this is a time when any and everybody can have their voices heard via social media. There's nobody controlling this. I mean, there are some women who are oppressed in their countries, but Meghan hasn't always been about trying to help other women in these countries.
She's never been
How
about
could
that.
she? She's not attached to some.
She's never been about that. She ain't even about that right now. She's fake. It's a fake facade, fake-a-do. It's a fake facade. It's a fake-a-do. Fake-a-do.
Something that a greater cause that is going to work to help suppressed women who are in certain countries have their voices heard. Like, how is she going to affect change with that? Meghan's message has.
How's she going to affect change? How? I want to know too.
Always been general to hear our voices, but to who?
To know
we hear you, Meghan, and we hear what you're saying. And we know that you're trying to control the narrative around what you're doing with Harry, and you're messaging things to the royal family in real time. Whenever you do these tours, whenever you go and give a speech, whenever you do anything, you are trying to show yourself as a leader who is trying to make change. But you're not really making change for anybody. Why are you still on these speaking points? because I think Meghan knows that when things go down with Harry, because let me tell you something, watching them on this tour, watching how Harry has been evasive towards Meghan shows me that he is shutting her down.
No, P. Dinah. He ain't going nowhere. He's still wrapped up into her like a marshmallow to chocolate. Okay? No. He's an idiot and will forever be an idiot. And the only time he's going to wake up is when she says, I don't want to be married to you anymore, Harry. You're no longer of use to me. I've spent all your money, all your fameness, everything's gone. There's nothing left. You're not used to me anymore. So what's next? That's what's going to go down.
She doesn't like that. She doesn't want to be shut down. She doesn't want to be told that, oh, you can't control me by holding my hand and having me direct certain things. Like Harry, I can see, is getting a little bit agitated with this woman.
Oh, no. He's not getting agitated. There's no agitation. Let me go get Rocky. He's not agitated. Get back up again. No, he ain't tired of her. When is he gonna get tired of Meghan? No. If he was tired of her, he would quit letting her make a fool out of him. Okay? If he had any sense to do, he would. Yeah, he ain't moving around. He ain't moving around.
And trying to control him because it's all about Meghan and doing what she wants to do and her voice being amplified. This is why she's on these tours trying to do nothing. Essentially, she's not affecting change for nothing. And having Harry come along as if he is
No, P. Dinah. Like me and Pickle said. No. Pickles agrees with me. Pickle says, I agree with you, LL. Harry is staying close to Meg. That is exactly right. He's going to do whatever she says to do. Jump, Harry, jump. How high, Meghan? How high? Yep.
trying to make some headway when his family doesn't want nothing to do with him. And pretty soon it's going to be Meghan holding blackmail over the royal family, trying to suck the crown dry with any.
She doesn't have anything over the family. They're not going to let her blackmail them.
And everything that she can get out of
not the king and William is not going to let Megadu blackmail them into anything. She is a nobody. She holds no weight.
Them through the years that she has been connected to Harry. This is Meghan speaking to the royal family and anybody else that wants to suppress her voice. She is going to do and say whatever she can to have her voice heard. This is a messaging point that she has always talked.
She's just an idiot, P. Dinah. She doesn't not smart. She just wants it to be seen as if she's a royal and she can be a better royal than they can because of all the stuff that's going on with Andrew. If anything, that's the message. I can be a better royal. Look.
Talked about. And interesting that she doesn't even mention the fact that it was her father who helped to amplify her voice when she wrote those letters on behalf of dishwashing soap when she was on Nick.
Of course, she's not going to give her father any props. That would mean she cares about him. And we know she don't. She don't care about him.
Nickelodeon. Because let's keep it real. We all know that commercial was not changed because of Meghan's letter. It was a class project and letters were written by all kind of people.
She said it was. B. Dinah. She said it was. She said it was. Boy Rocket Doolittle. Guys, the other day, the little hamster, Izzy, got out and started running around the house, Pickles. You should have saw us trying to catch him. First of all, how did he get out? It's crazy.
Around the country about that commercial. But Meghan makes it sound as if she is the one who wrote a letter that affected change. And that's not true. So she'll do whatever she can to take the accolades of something to help herself be lifted up as if she's the change maker.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Meghan, I believe, is a very dangerous woman. And I think what she is doing with Harry and trying to
she manipulates everything, like she's trying to say that she's a humanitarian, P. Dinah, and she is not a humanitarian.
To make her voice be the leader in all of this, she is going to hold the royal family captive around whatever it is that she may have on them, because she's always going to want what she has to say to be said to get what she wants to get.
Right.
And that's not going to be good. That's not going to be good for the royal family.
Why?
I mean, how embarrassing to show up as a +1 on behalf of the director of the World Health Organization. Not that you were invited, but that you were there because you were their +1. That is embarrassing. So after they were snubbed by the King and Queen and Crown Prince of Jordan, the British government has also distanced itself from the couple's Middle East trip. The Foreign Office was criticized when the Sussexes revealed that they had been hosted by the British ambassador in Amman Philip Hall. Now, former Tory minister Tim Loughton told the Daily Mail that it was entirely inappropriate that they were guests of Mr. Hall, given the couple's claim to be private citizens. The Foreign Office has declined comment on the 2-day visit to Jordan with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but a source with knowledge.
They're citizens. They're regular citizens. Why are they going over there like they Princess and Prince William and Princess Catherine? Like, look at this. This is that fake-a-do stuff. Going over there pretending like they're royals. Yeah, the hamster got out the other day, Pickles, running around the house. We had to catch it. We had to catch him. Oh, Izzy. Mhm. This is a mess. It's a trip. Look at
The
this.
Foreign Office has declined comment on the two-day visit to Jordan with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But a source with knowledge of the trip has said that the British ambassador had not invited Harry and Meghan to his reception, marking Iftar, the meal eaten by Muslims at sunset to break their fast during Ramadan. Now, the invitation had been to Dr. Tedros, the Director General of the World Health Organization. He had been asked the Duke and Duchess along as his guest, it is understood. Now, this source has insisted that the British government not have been involved in arranging or facilitating the trip because they are private citizens. The couple have said that they were in Jordan at the invitation of WHO and its boss, Dr. Tedros. How pathetic do you have to be? I mean, how embarrassing to look like you are so desperate that you'll go along as a +1 and not be invited. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about this woman, she doesn't care about being embarrassed. As long as
She doesn't. She doesn't think that people are going to find out. And we're going to find out that you're embarrassing yourself. You're making a fool out of yourself. Get somewhere and sit down. But oh no, I got to prove a point. I'm important.
she gets to be in the room to have her voice heard, she'll do any and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is why she is dangerous. This is why Meghan cannot be trusted. And the king, the royal family, they better nip this in the bud before it gets any worse.
Nip what in the bud, girl? What they supposed to do? Is she right about that? Do they need to do something? Hello, royal family.
Because this is a rogue couple. And as long as Meghan is...
They're rogues. They're thug rogues. They're rogues. They just doing what they want to do when they get ready to do it, when they get ready to do it. And they're going on a royal tour and haven't been officially announced to do it. It's very embarrassing.
Leading Harry, that handbag, along, she's going to get this man in a world of hurt. And I think at this point, Meghan has to be completely stripped. Her and Harry need to be completely stripped of...
Uh-oh, we're going to strip them of their titles again. Strip-a-doo, strip-a-doo. Hello, Hudson. Strip-a-doo, strip-a-doo. I guess we're going to strip-a-doo.
their titles, because this is just downright embarrassing. And it shows you just how desperate and how willing Meghan is to do any and everything to get.
It is embarrassing for them to go on this royal trip, unofficial royal trip to Jordan. It looked really, really just, what do you want to call it? Not right. Fake-a-doo. Scooby-Doo. Fake-a-dooby-doo. That's what's going on. Let's continue. Wrap us up, P. Dinah.
Get her voice heard. And I'll keep talking about this. This is still a developing story and more to come. I'll see you all in my next video. Cheerio.
Bye. Okay, this I'm going to keep
It's
forever.
so messy in regards to the Markle family situation, Tom, because Thomas Markle Jr., who is a YouTuber now, Thomas Markle Jr. and Friends is his YouTube channel. And look, he's an outspoken guy. And you know I like outspoken people, okay? But he has now, in his emotion over what his father has gone through, and I think to some consternation from other family members, gone public and blasted Meghan.
Long story short, all right, I do blame Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle.
Uh-oh. Are they titles under threat? Rejected Meghan and Harry royal tour snob by Jordan royal family. That's the real deal. Meghan and Harry's surprise visit to Jordan. Visible, miserable. Harry's miserable. Meghan and Harry, Prince Harry snobbed. Andrew scandal rages on. What does the king know? This is good. Roundup.
Meghan Markle has stunned her spare Harry by demanding he severs ties with his last remaining friends in the royal family. Always keenly aware of toxicity, the difficult Duchess has warned her hapless husband that his close relationship with scandal hit cousins Beatrice and Eugenie must end.
That's not
As
true.
the
They
criminal
were
net closes in on their disgraced father Andrew, amid calls for their devious mother Sarah Ferguson to also be investigated by police, the princess's gilded life is unraveling fast. And while the devastated daughters look on helplessly as their pariah parents plunge deeper and deeper into shame, they too are falling from grace in spectacular fashion. It has become uncomfortably clear that B, 37 and 35.
Wow. Beatrice and Eugenie's reputation is falling by the wayside. They're being, their reputation is on the line. Are they trying to say that the girls knew? They were too young to know what was going on with Daddy-Ola. But now they know what Daddy-Ola was doing. And so how are they How are they being blamed for their father? Wow. That's some serious stuff going on. Some serious to do going on. Look at this. The girls. It's not the same. The girls. Look at the girls. Do no one feel sorry for the girls? If their father put them in such a position where it's unthinkable. Wow.
5-year-old Eugenie's frantic efforts to be seen as innocent victims of Andrew and Fergie's
They're
sickening behavior
not victims.
may well all have been a desperate attempt to hide the truth about their own involvement with billionaire paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. And while there is no suggestion that they in any way broke the law, the sisters are named hundreds of times in the Epstein files. And according to shock reports, B helped their mendacious mum get back into Epstein's good books after she sought to save her own reputation by publicly branding him a child sex abuser and brazenly lied that she would never have any contact with him again. Even more damagingly, just 5 days after the terrible tycoon was released following his 13 months jail term for soliciting prostitution from a minor, Fergie took B and Eugenie to lunch at his Florida mansion where they dined on vegetable lasagna prepared by his Parisian chef. Inevitably, before jetting across the Atlantic, the revoltingly venal then Duchess of York checked with Epstein
We got
that
some
he was paid their
questions.
first-class airfares. He was, at a cost of $14,000. At first, there was an outpouring of sympathy for the poor princesses. How could a mother take her young daughters to see a convicted paedophile? But then it began to dawn on shocked royal watchers that, at the time in 2009, B was 20 and Eugenie was 19.
They're victims.
Not little girls, fully grown adults who must have known
Poor
all about
girls.
their mother's evil benefactor. In other bad news, it is well
They
documented
must
that
have
B was
known
front and
that
center
their
of the
mother's
negotiations
evil
that led to her
benefactor.
notoriously thick dad's
Oh, get the
disastrous
hell out of
from
here.
grace in spectacular fashion. It has become uncomfortably clear that B, 37 and 35-year-old Eugenie's frantic efforts to be seen as innocent victims of Andrew and Fergie's
Yeah,
sickening
there
behavior
you go.
may well all have been a desperate attempt to hide the truth about their own involvement with billionaire paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
What
And while there is no suggestion that
environment?
they in any way broke the law, the sisters are named hundreds of times in the Epstein files. And according to shock reports,
So?
B helped their mendacious mum get back into Epstein's good books after she sought to save her own reputation by publicly branding him a child sex abuser and brazenly lied.
Oh, they are taking this way. Hello. Hudson, how are you?
Hello, Lady Letitia.
Well, what about they blaming the girls?
They were grown.
I thought they were like young.
They were grown. They were legal age. They were grown, and if it was something else, they would still you know, they would still be close to the carpet. I don't feel sorry for none of the royals. Absolutely not.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I already know you're. Yeah, yeah. But I'm giving I'm putting them in the victim category because they don't know what their father was doing and what was going on with their father. I wouldn't have known what was going on with mine.
Your father's not the prince.
But like, oh no, but like just thinking that if he was,
You would know,
mm,
especially if you were
now
working royals.
I know now, but I didn't know then. I wouldn't have
Listen,
known then. I wouldn't have known then.
they're all working royals. They work underneath over a staff of over 1,000 people. Their family is literally a business. It's in the emails. They all knew. They just don't see us as the same, like it's the same to them. They see us as like pets. They live a different life. They have a different upbringing. They,
Yeah, but you think everybody knew Hudson, and I really don't think these girls were paying that kind of attention to what their father was doing. You would have to. I'm not seeing it.
especially if they knew Epstein.
Fair.
Especially if they knew Epstein. They knew what he was about.
No.
They knew what type of party. They've been to the parties. It's been
feel like
stated
they
already. They've been to his house. They've been to the parties. They've been here. They've been there. They've been on the island. They know.
Yeah, but that's not something that you pay attention to. Like, oh, look at that girl. She's young. That shouldn't be doing that kind of thing. I'm having a hard time believing that they were even in that atmosphere.
Well, you see, we say that even now with celebrities, we'll see them in a magazine and be like, "Oh, look at that girl he's with. She's young."
So yeah,
Strangers.
I think this is a bit much. Let's see what he's saying.
That she would never have any contact with him again. Even more damagingly, just 5 days after the terrible tycoon was released following his 13 months jail term for soliciting prostitution from a minor, Fergie took B and Eugenie to lunch at his Florida mansion, where they dined on vegetable lasagna prepared by his Parisian chef. Inevitably, before jetting across the Atlantic, the revoltingly venal then Duchess of York checked with Epstein that he was
That
paying
means
for
that
first-class
she's a
airfare.
bad
He
mom.
was, at a cost of $14,000.
I think they were talking about at dinner.
First, there was an outpouring.
I think that makes her a bad mom.
How could a mother take her young daughters to see a convicted paedophile?
That's
Then
bad.
It began to dawn on shocked royal watchers
Shame
that
on
at
Fergie.
the time in 2009, B was 20 and Eugenie was 19. Not little girls, fully grown adults who must have known all about their mothers.
I don't believe that.
In other bad news, it is well documented that B was front and center of the negotiations that led to her notoriously thick dad's disastrous 2019
You guys
interview.
are so quick to blame and assume that these girls knew what was going on because they had met him before. Oh my goodness gracious. So I guess
It's not a blame. I'm sorry to cut you off, Letitia. Go on. I think you're delayed in my
I
ears.
believe
Go
that
on.
this whole family is being blamed for Andrew. It's interesting. It really is. I'm done, Hudson.
Hello?
Yes.
I don't think they're blaming, like, I don't think they're all getting blamed for Andrew's misdoing. I think they're getting blamed for their part, being a getaway driver. Like, they're not getting blamed for robbing the bank, but they're getting blamed for being the getaway driver.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like I was in the car, so I knew what was going on. No.
Did you hear the emails? when Virginia first started to come out with all the the knowledge in the books and everything.
No.
When it's the staff, it's in the emails too. That the staff was let me just send it to you. One of them was saying that Andrew was saying to one of them, "Oh, did you get the name? Did you get the birthday and the social?" They were like, "Yeah, we have it ready. We're running it right now." This is the staff. Hold on.
Ooh. So the staff knew. Shame on them. I can see that.
And we're not talking about Andrew's personal staff too, neither. We're talking about
It's his
monarchy staff.
responsibility. Yeah, all this they knew, they I don't agree with that one bit. Highly sensitive. They knew, they knew. No, he is the corporate. He did the deed. He should be crucified and scrutinized.
I put it in the back. It's a short video.
Okay.
That may well trigger the biggest constitutional crisis in recent British history. As the brother of the king, Andrew has spent his life surrounded by servants, aides, royal family members, and government officials. And as allegations of his involvement in Jeffrey Epstein's trade in young girls and women swell, it's hard to believe that if they turn out to be true, those around Andrew knew nothing of what he's alleged to have been doing. Any sense of a cover-up or protecting Andrew from the consequences of his alleged actions could spell the end of the monarchy. But some don't see it that way. Veteran BBC journalist Jonathan Dimbleby is also the King's friend and biographer. He spoke to the BBC after Andrew's arrest on Thursday.
He is the King's brother, and I wonder what you think about the damage that this does to the royal family, to the monarchy.
Exactly.
I don't think that it damages the monarchy. I think we have to separate the notion of a family from the institution of the monarchy. I think it's very important. It's very easy to align the two. And I have to say in parentheses,
Pause it for a second.
Was used the most
I agree with him.
Okay, the first time the Queen took him off the royal duty and the working for the royal underneath the royal monarchy and visiting the countries and cutting the ribbon and stuff like that because all this was going on. So she took him off of royal duties, right?
She did.
King Charles is the one that put him back on while she was still alive because he was in charge of all of that. So he reinstated his brother. And this is after Virginia, after them paying, after all of that mess.
So he got put back on?
No, Charles put him back on.
That's weird. That he shouldn't have done that.
fortunate phrase when he talked about the family business. It's not a family business.
It is a family business.
First of all. Second, you take the individuals. He mentioned, the king mentioned, didn't he, that all the family will continue to help. If you think of the Prince and Princess of Wales, the Princess Royal, the Duke of Edinburgh, they are all doing their duties. They will individually have feelings about this. I do not see that because one member of the royal family has been arrested, maybe, we don't know, maybe charged with a very serious offense, that brings the institution in disrespect. On the contrary, it demonstrates that the institution is functioning.
In one way, Dimbleby is right. The institution is functioning, and that's because the single job of the monarchy is to sustain itself at whatever cost. This time, the cost is Andrew. But for years, it may have been girls and young women.
I'm in London. I was so young. Keelan woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be trafficked to that prince. And then that night, Prince Andrew came to her house in London, and we went out to Club Tramp. Prince Andrew got me alcohol. It was in the VIP section. I'm pretty sure it was vodka. Prince Andrew was like, let's dance together. And I was like, okay. And we leave Club Tramp. And I hop in the car with Ghislaine and Jeffrey. And Ghislaine said he's coming back to the house. And I want you to do for him what you do for Epstein. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that even royalty were involved.
That was Virginia Giuffre in 2019, recounting her allegations of being trafficked to Andrew by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in 2001, and when she was just 17 years old. She claimed that on 3 separate occasions, Andrew raped her, including in 2001 in London. Andrew, of course, has denied all of those claims. In a 2022 civil suit brought by Giuffre against the then prince, though, Andrew settled for an undisclosed amount, stipulating that the settlement was not an admission of guilt. Later reports would put the settlement at around £12 million. So where did he get that cash from? Well, it seems to have been a family affair. Earlier this month, The Sun reported that Andrew was loaned the £12 million by his mother, the then Queen, the estate of his father, Prince Philip, and his brother, Charles, now the King. A source told The Sun this: Andrew lied to his own family about the extent of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. They bankrolled his payoff to his accuser, Virginia Giuffre. They bought his lies and helped him try and make the problem go away. His own mother, the late Queen, was left heartbroken by the scandal, but she could not face banishing Andrew, who was still her beloved son. Andrew, well, if we're to believe he lied to his family, he didn't only lie to his family, he may have lied to the country too. Virginia Giuffre alleged that this photograph that she said was taken in 2001 proved that she was telling the truth about being assaulted by Andrew when she was 17. In the background is Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, here's what Andrew said about the photo in his notorious 2019 Panorama interview with Emily Maitlis.
She provided a photo of the two of you together.
Yes.
Your arm was around her waist.
Yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't. Because I have absolutely no memory of that photograph ever being taken.
Do you recognize yourself in the photo?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult.
You liar, dude. You lying.
Photo
I don't
of
know.
the two of you together.
Yes.
Your arm was around her waist.
Yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't.
I can't.
Because I have absolutely no memory of that photograph ever being taken.
Do you recognize yourself in the photo?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult not to recognize yourself.
Your friend suggested that the photo is fake.
I think it's from the investigations that we've done, you can't prove whether or not that photograph is faked or not, because it is a photograph of a photograph of a photograph. So it's very difficult to be able to prove it. But I don't remember that photograph ever being taken.
But it's possible that it was you with your arm around
That's
her
me,
waist.
but whether that's my hand or whether that's the position, I have simply no recollection of a photograph ever being taken.
So
it's pretty difficult not to
It
recognize
just
yourself.
blows my mind
Waist.
watching him live.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't.
It blows my mind.
Because I have absolutely no memory of that photograph ever being taken.
Do you recognize yourself in the photo?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult not to recognize yourself.
Your friend suggested that the photo is fake.
I think it's from the investigations that we've done, you can't prove whether or not that photograph is faked or not, because it is a photograph of a photograph of a photograph.
What you
So
call
it's very
him
difficult
earlier?
to be able
Human
to prove it. But I don't remember that photograph ever being taken.
But it's possible that it was you with your arm around
That's
her waist.
me, but whether that's my hand or whether that's the position, I have simply no recollection of a photograph ever being taken. Do you recognize yourself in the photo?
So,
Yes.
I mean, beyond that, just being
I have simply no recollection of a photograph ever being
I
taken.
have no recollection.
So, I mean, beyond that, just being
No,
grotesque and implausible, it's that phrase.
With your arm around
That's
her waist.
me, but
That's
whether
me.
that's my
That
hand
ain't-
or whether that's the position, I have simply no recollection of a photograph ever being taken.
So I mean, beyond that, just being grotesque and implausible, it's that phrase, the investigations we've done, that sort of stand out to me there. Now, it very much sounds like there are many people working for Andrew who are actively trying to build a case that Giuffre was lying about the picture. You know, in other words, there may have been many people working to protect Andrew's reputation, right, which is the job of people who work for the royal family, to defend the institution, to defend their reputations. Now, as it happened, there's good evidence now in the Epstein files to suggest the photograph was, in fact, real. I mean, a 2015 email exchange between Maxwell and Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell is working on the text of a witness statement about Virginia Giuffre's accusations. Maxwell denies the sexual allegations, but does say this. In 2001, I was in London when Virginia Giuffre met a number of friends of mine, including Prince Andrew. A photograph was taken, as I imagine she wanted to show it to friends and family. Right. So clearly, this is a real picture. Ghislaine Maxwell, in her defense, is going for the argument, yes, this all happened. Well, this is in this meeting happened, but I didn't force anyone to have sex. Andrew's strategy is to say the picture never happened in the first place. And as was made clear in that interview and with Emily Maitlis, he's had lots of people who've done these investigations to try and clear his name. If Andrew was being helped by palace staff to protect his reputation from Giuffre's allegations, it might not have been the first time. So in 2011, the Mail on Sunday approached palace staff over their plan to run the photograph of Andrew and Giuffre. This is an exchange between Andrew and the Queen's deputy press secretary. So that's pretty significant, I think. So you can see here, Andrew, I've just had a short conversation with
real quick, Letitia?
and she says, with what Jeffrey Epstein says.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to brief everybody. This right now, what he's reading is the emails to mute the whole situation, mitigate it between Andrew and the Queen's head of media. Okay, they knew, and this is an official email. You can play it. I'm done.
Okay, when was this?
I think it was 2000. It was either in the 11th or 01. The Queen was still alive.
Right.
Maybe he says it a little bit forward and then back, rewind it a little bit. Maybe
I believe they
XX
found
is a
out.
lying so-and-so, paraphrasing. But
I believe they found out in 2011 because that's when everybody found out that Andrew had it going on. Hello? Yeah. Oh, that's nasty, Kara.
That's an alien. Look.
It's an alien.
Dad, Mommy.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just hit the button. Hold on 1 second, sweetheart.
Take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
this is consistent. I assume the XX is Virginia Giuffre. If this comes to the crunch, we must have a statement ready for tomorrow or tonight that makes it perfectly clear our displeasure with the Mail on Sunday for not listening and a really forceful denial. And press secretary, indeed, sir, all received, awaiting their response now.
So
Lawyers primed. Next email. Andrew, it would also seem she has a criminal record in the States. I have given her date of birth and social security number for investigation with Chris on the duty PPO. Private, personal, I'm not sure what PPO is. And then the press secretary says, the Mail on Sunday have now come back to us and say they will make no reference to any sexual impropriety. This is a good start, but we need to know what they will run instead. If it's simply that you met this woman, well, frankly, as in sort of frankly, that's ridiculous. So this is the official royal staff trying to, I suppose, support Andrew and I think pressure really the Mail on Sunday to make their stories more favorable towards Andrew. We know how the royal press works. They sort of say, if you write this about us, we won't give you any more access. So the idea this sort of had nothing to do with the royal family, to me, doesn't bear, it's not credible, basically. Andrew, this is interesting. Andrew immediately forwarded that entire exchange to Jeffrey Epstein. So that's why we have them in the Epstein files, because he forwarded this information to Epstein.
Wow.
Of course, this is long after he was convicted of sex offences. I mean, it appears on the surface to show not only the Queen's press secretary negotiating with the Mail to stop them running a photo of Andrew, an alleged sex trafficking victim, but also Andrew asking a personal protection officer, that's what the PPO was, a member of the Met Police, to investigate Giuffre. We don't know if the officer ever did, but Andrew doesn't appear to have been afraid to ask. This is a man very much used to getting his own way. Other Met protection officers have a few stories to tell about Andrew. In 2022, 60 Minutes Australia interviewed Andrew's former protection officer, Paul Page, who gave this account of young women frequently visiting the then Prince.
A lady would turn up, she would say, I'm here to see Prince Andrew. We would call his valet or his footman. They would usually come down and meet the anonymous female and take them into the palace. Sometimes we would let them walk across the forecourt into the middle of the palace where the Duke's private door is, and they would make their own way to his apartments. On one occasion, a female attended the North Centre Gate and said she was here to see Prince Andrew. He'd just come in half an hour before, so we knew he was in residence, but we couldn't get hold of his valet or his footman, so we had no confirmation, because we do get people turn up at the palace saying they've got an appointment for the Queen. They haven't. They're just.
Did he have women coming in and out of there?
Yes, and if it's palace grounds, palace property, the palace itself, they have to sanction it. They have to make sure it's cleared. And this person is, like he just said, people don't come up to the door randomly and say, "Oh, I'm here to see the Queen." And no, everybody is marked, and they write down everybody who came. So there's no way. All these people knew this is a staff of over 1,000 people, and nobody knew what time it was.
He was pretty bold to do that.
He would only do that if he felt comfortable.
Yeah, just having any kind of, just bringing any kind of anyone up in there when they got ready to. That's what I'm hearing. Wow.
They're just sort of mentally challenged. So there's that issue we have as well. People can turn up and say they're here for an appointment, but they haven't got one. So we politely apologised to the female and said, look, we can't let you in at the moment. We need to get confirmation. So she said, oh, I'll ring him on my mobile. So she rang Prince Andrew on her mobile, and he must have been looking out the window because there was 3 of us standing there. One of my colleagues was quite a large officer, and he's the one who took the phone off the lady. And we could hear Prince Andrew. I mean, I don't know if you want me to use the expletives, but basically he said, listen to me, you fat lardy-ass cunt. Let my guest in, I'm going to come down there.
Oh!
We all heard it, and even the female guest went bright red. So obviously we apologised to her, she apologised to us, and we just let her in.
Wow.
Oh my God. Prince Andrew, really a man without any redeeming features whatsoever. I blame the upbringing.
How rude.
And the interview went on.
There was a constant flow of females visiting Prince Andrew late in the evening, whom we were not privy to their names.
So what amongst the protection officers, what was the banter about Prince Andrew and his entourage of women, the number that were coming in?
We obviously thought it was a bit of a boy, and the joke was he should have a revolving door in his bedroom.
Wow.
You know, it was that sort of attitude. I mean, he would get his protection officers to drive some of these females home. And to be quite honest with you, last time I looked, Royal Protection Command isn't the taxi service. So he misused police resources for his own ends.
Pause it before you
protection
talk.
officers aren't going to say no. They're going to do what they're told.
Yeah.
That's the royal family's dime that's paid for by the state and the people. That's paid for by the taxes. People get charged for every time that he had his little chauffeurs and valet drive this girl home.
Oh, taxpayers' money.
Yes, like if the president did it.
Yeah, it was. Okay, hold on. Let's go, sweetie.
Now, we should be clear that the protection officer interviewed there says he put the ages of all the girls who visited Andrew at 20 or older. But as the investigation into Andrew grows, protection officers will now be questioned over his Epstein links, with officers being asked to consider carefully whether they ever saw or heard anything relevant to the case. Others around Andrew may have had more material incentives to turn a blind eye. Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, who continued to live with the prince after their divorce, appears to have benefited financially from a relationship with Epstein. On one occasion in 2001, she received $150,000 from the billionaire, though a spokesperson for the former Duchess said the money related to share options she had earned as an ambassador for Weight Watchers. Even in 2010, though, just months after Epstein was released from house arrest following a child sex conviction, Ferguson wrote to him to express her gratitude for his generosity and kindness. "I am at your service," she says. At the end of the email, then
Andrew was
just
doing all
marry me.
kinds of stuff.
There's no suggestion that Ferguson or any palace staff or acquaintances of Andrew have done anything criminal. Indeed, Andrew continues to deny all criminal allegations of wrongdoing. It does perhaps, though, illustrate a major issue around secrets and the monarchy,
Yeah,
money,
he's
power,
in
authority,
denial.
and the state's almost limitless protection of members of the royals, who can make people do strange things. It may even help them to ignore what was under their noses all along. Barry, we'll be quick. We need to wrap up the show quite quickly. But this idea that this has nothing to do with the broader palace, that this is sort of Prince Andrew, he's one rotten egg. No one in the palace could have known. What could they possibly have known? And the minute they found out that wrongdoing had happened, they pushed him out of the family.
Exactly.
I don't find it particularly plausible.
No, me neither. And this is the line. This is the line that's coming from the palace, but it's also the line that seems to be coming from the majority of the mainstream British media. What Jonathan Dimbleby said that, look, it's the one bad apple defense, right? And last night in Question Time, we saw the same thing. Everybody on Question Time said, this is one person, the institution is in good health. What they're going to do is they're going to lean on the fact that they have William and Kate, who are still incredibly popular with the British public. And then I think there's this other thing that I find quite insidious, which is the notion that it's a family and that it's family business. You know, why should William be made to answer questions for his uncle? Why should Charles be embarrassed by his brother? But it's not just a family. It's this weird melding of a family with the state. And William...
Also, if we say that families are relevant, you're not going to be king, mate.
All right.
That's the reason you got the job.
But there's almost this like, there's this
that's
taboo against questioning Charles and William, right, on anything to do with Andrew, as if they're not representatives of this incredibly powerful institution. If they are representatives of this incredibly powerful state institution, then why shouldn't they ask questions about the behavior of another one of its senior members, especially when, as you've just outlined, there is so much convincing evidence that a lot of people within that institution knew about this. We had William go on BBC a few days ago. He spoke about mental health charity work that he does. Some people criticized the BBC for not questioning him about Andrew. I think that there was some defense made that this was not a news show that he was on. You know, he was there to talk about something different. Listen, I'm a journalist. You're a journalist. Think about this. There's a massive story to do with Andrew Epstein, the arrest, everything. William is at BBC. You are a BBC News journalist. You are running a news desk. Why on earth wouldn't you send a journalist down to doorstep him when he leaves the building? Why not? I mean, why is that absurd?
Okay,
But as
they
I
were
say it, I
great.
know that
Thank
it
you.
will never, ever happen. The BBC would never, ever do that. Why not? That is journalism. And
You're gonna give them a
again, as the
thumbs up?
public face of a really
I want
powerful...
to hear about Nancy real quick.
Wait, they're gonna say what Charles did.
Oh, let me go back. Sorry.
The fall of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor
Where
may
were
well
we?
trigger the biggest
It's a family, and that it's family business. You know, why should William be made to answer questions for his uncle? Why should Charles be embarrassed by his brother? But it's not just a family. It's this weird melding of a family with the state. And William...
Also, if we say that families are relevant, you're not going to be king, mate.
All right.
That's the reason you got the job.
But there's almost this like, there's this a taboo against questioning Charles and William, right, on anything to do with Andrew, as if they're not representatives of this incredibly powerful institution. If they are representatives of this incredibly powerful state institution, then why shouldn't they ask questions about the behavior of another one of its senior members, especially when, as you've just outlined, there is so much convincing evidence that a lot of people within that institution knew about this. We had William go on BBC a few days ago. He spoke about mental health charity work that he does. Some people criticized the BBC for not questioning him about Andrew. I think that there was some defense made that this was not a news show that he was on. You know, he was there to talk about something different. Listen, I'm a journalist. You're a journalist. Think about this. There's a massive story to do with Andrew Epstein, the arrest, everything. William,
I wouldn't have answered.
Is at BBC. You are a BBC News journalist. You are running a news desk.
Yeah.
Why on earth wouldn't you send a journalist down to doorstep him when he leaves the building? Why not? I mean, why is that absurd? But as I say it, I know that it will never, ever happen. The BBC would never, ever do that. Why not? That is journalism. And again, as the public face of a really powerful institution alongside alongside King Charles, I do not see why William and Charles should not be made to answer questions, because this is not a story about, you know, the playboy uncle. This is a story about a powerful institution, and there are questions to be answered about what it knew and when it knew it.
Yeah, I keep saying there's two. I mean, there's many arguments against hereditary monarchy. So the key one is that it's incredibly unfair. You know, if we believe that we live in a country or society where everyone is born equal, then the idea that you can, by virtue of your bloodline, become a very powerful person is offensive. But the more pragmatic reason is that the wrong person might get the job, right? If you don't have a process of selecting people, if it's just by the accident of birth, you might get a real wrong in the job. And if there's any proof of that, it is Andrew. So I think he's sort of like an argument against the monarchy in and of itself, as well as just against this particular rather strange family.
Was that the end? Maybe I'm thinking of another one. In the emails, it says that well, it's known that Charles is the one that while the Queen was still here, Charles is the one that reinstated him when the Queen took him off the royal rosters. And if you have somebody like that walking around, and you're sending them by the taxpayers' dimes to other countries to meet with dignitaries and things like that as your representative, and you know he's a creepazoid, like that's pretty important. That's pretty important.
Because you're saying that they put him back out there after his mother took him off.
Yes, this is before. Remember when before she took away his official titles and stuff like that? She said that he's just not going to go out on royal duty.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't remember him putting him back on though.
Charles
I
put him
do
back
remember
on.
him like walking and being a part of the family though. And they
find
didn't
an article.
do that.
Charles put him back on, I think for income purposes. And to be honest, like I've been saying, even if they didn't know, say they didn't know till yesterday, this is a big deal. Do you want these people as your representative?
Yeah, it's a big deal.
They're weak. They're weak. They're incompetent. They don't pay attention. They're misusing your tax dollars. So, like at this point, what type of people do you want representing you and at the head of your state, and you to be bound to and all this other BS?
Yeah, but I don't think that they need to be crucified for what he's done in the dark. I just really don't. I don't think it's fair for me to be crucified for that. If I'm doing the job that I'm supposed to be doing for the country, whatever that is, cutting ribbons, whatever the case is, then I'm doing it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing for the country. And not only am I doing that, but the person that has done bad is being reprimanded as we speak. He is not being off scot-free. He's being held accountable for his discretions. And I just don't get how it's everybody else's fault.
If any of our jobs,
but I do understand where you're coming from with it, because it's like the president. If something goes wrong, we're going to be looking to the president when things go wrong to fix it.
Not only that, if they just found out, we're going to be like, where was your antennas this whole time? It's been 30 years and you just now finding out? People get fired for stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think they knew when he was doing it. I think they knew when he got caught.
And then why didn't they know? He was spending up the taxpayers' money. Why didn't they know?
Maybe because they trusted him to do the job.
Well, then that's your incompetence. Well, that's their incompetence then. It's causing, not only is it spending up the taxpayers' money
around, like Meghan and Harry. Look at them. No one knows what they're up to.
This is not only that, but it's affecting lives. Virginia offed herself. There's girls that have been said to be unalive, and they're using up the taxpayers' money. If you weren't paying attention to one of your senior members, that's a problem with me. Because where were your tenants?
That's still crucifying everybody that didn't know. But just because I'm associated with them, I was supposed to know? No. And the person that they want is in question. He's being questioned. He's been arrested. This is unprecedented. It is happening. She is getting her justice, I believe. Now, if they wasn't doing anything, then it would be, this looks really bad. That interview was so, oh my goodness.
Welcome to TMZ Live. There is some interesting information, not just about Nancy Guthrie, but about Savannah Guthrie. So
he's still
there's been a lot of talk about how does she come back to the Today Show as long as things are unresolved. And the reality is, and our law enforcement sources are saying this, that this case could be unresolved for months, even years, before they find Nancy Guthrie. That is just a stark reality right now. The FBI does not have any solid leads, nor does the Pima County Sheriff's Office.
That's a shame.
And they are at a point now where this is becoming a cold case. So Savannah Guthrie acknowledged this in her last video, that it would take a miracle for her mom to be alive at this point. And there are realities to all of this. This is a very religious family. Nancy Guthrie was very religious. And, the closure of finding Nancy, whether she's alive or not, is something this family clearly needs. I mean, you see this written all over Savannah's face, as she's spoken over the last month. And she's not getting that closure. And so the question, what does she do? Does she come back to the Today Show?
Probably go back to work.
Just, as they say, put on a happy face.
Get my mind
and, push this to the side for 2 hours a day, or not. And if she decides to come back, when does she do that? And does she address it if she comes back? She's going to have to say something.
Yeah.
But it is a shadow, a cloud that will be cast over her. You can just feel it as you watch her, until there's some closure with her mom. So here's what we're told. We're told no decision has been made yet. And that Savannah, we are told, has not communicated anything to NBC in terms of a return date or lack thereof. And the important thing we're told is NBC has absolutely not exerted any pressure on her for any return date, that they are giving her the space she needs right now, but NBC is sitting back and waiting. So I think that, at this point, what you could say is it's up in the air, that, Savannah may come back. She may come back in 2 weeks. She may not come back. We don't know. She hasn't said, but NBC is not putting pressure on her. As for Nancy Guthrie, a video surfaced the other day of a dozen cars that were driving a couple of miles from the residence of Nancy Guthrie in the hours after the kidnapping. Because we know that's when the Google video from the Nest camera captured this person at Nancy's front door. So that is at 2:12 when the Google the Google search of the Nest camera revealed this man at Nancy's door. So he's there. Now, 2.5 miles away, there's a road, and there are cars going back and forth. One of them, the first one, you see past 19 minutes after that video was taken. So theoretically, 19 minutes would be long enough for somebody perhaps to go inside, take Nancy, put her in a car, and drive those 2.5 miles. So it is possible, in terms of time, that one of those cars could be the kidnapper's car. And there were a dozen of these cars, in that period of time. But the first of which, 19 minutes after the person was on that doorstep. Our FBI sources say that this is a dead end. That the placement of the road against Nancy's house makes no sense. That it's the opposite direction from anything, and they have looked also at the ingress and egress around that road, and they have already looked at this and said there is nothing here. So even though it seems enticing to see that car go by, the FBI, we're told, has already made a decision that there is no real lead produced by the video. So right now, they don't have a suspect. They don't have a person of interest. They do not have a vehicle.
I said, so there's no tire tracks. It's 19 miles.
I know.
They walked the old lady 19 miles.
I saw 2 cars.
And it's not like cars fly back and forth between, like, to her house. Right. Like it's a secluded road. There should be tire marks there.
I think they messed up in the beginning.
They clearly think there was something to that first ransom note that we and 2 local television stations in Tucson received. But as far as we know, they have not been able to track down who wrote that note, nor are they able to track down the person who has been sending us demand letters saying for a certain amount of money, they will give them information leading to Nancy and the kidnapper. So this is becoming a cold case, and it must be an absolute nightmare for the Guthrie family.
Hello, my name is Liza. I'm from Louisiana. Me personally, I think she should give it a little more time. Roughly, her mom's been missing for 26 days. I don't think they've dotted all their I's, nor crossed all their T's in that short time frame. I wouldn't return to today's show until my mom returned home.
But what happens? But I got to ask you, because think about this. What if they just don't find Nancy? Do you put your life in suspended animation?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For how long? For 10 years?
If that's how long it takes for my mom to come back, absolutely.
But would your mom, I mean, look, God forbid, but would your mom?
I don't know. I would go back. What would you do, Hudson? At some point, would you go back to work?
It would be hard right now, so I can't see myself.
It would be very difficult
right now to tell about the weather and the parade and what Harry and Meghan are doing and the new movie coming out.
Yeah.
It would see if she was. Go on, babe.
I agree with you. Yeah. It would be, it just seemed like it is a little soon. And I think that it would be hard for me to concentrate.
Yeah, and if she didn't have a front-facing job, maybe, like if your job was crunching numbers and stuff like that,
yeah,
maybe
like
to get your mind off of it.
Something. Okay.
Exactly. And maybe it'll be easier doing that because it gets your mind, doing work does get our mind off of crazy things.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have that type of job. Her job is reporting the news. Her mother is the news, and it's in front of millions of people.
Yeah. Exactly. Hello, Don. That's true.
Want you to put your life on hold and basically mourn for 10 years and not be productive and not in any way try to become satisfied.
No, you have to look at it from a different point. I would say, no, she wouldn't want me to mourn for 10 years, but I would. Being the daughter, I would mourn for 10 years until my mom returns.
Fair enough.
All right. I was playing this.
Let's start with the latest breaking news just now, and that's the Savannah repost of that short clip on the Today Show, emphasizing you can stay anonymous and there's a way to retrieve the reward.
I'm gonna step down real quick, Letitia.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'll be in the chat and I may be back up, but I gotta feed everybody.
Okay, thanks for coming up, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Let's thank Hudson for coming up, guys. I don't get very many visitors.
With the BBC. Was she aware of the grim facts, or was she too deceived by awful Andrew's vast and tangled tissue of lies? Either way, King Charles and Prince William's initial instinct to treat kindly the problem-plagued princesses has given way to increasing suspicions that while not involved in their scrounging parents' pathetic addiction to Epstein's money and jet-set generosity, they certainly knew all about it. Beatrice even accompanied Andrew on his mysterious business trips to the Middle East and China. And who paid the bills for fun-loving B's 17 holidays in 2015 to glamorous, astronomically expensive destinations, including ritzy Saint-Tropez, Ibiza, and Mexico? It could hardly have been her. She was working for Sony then, on a lowly annual salary of £19,500. Armed with more and more damning information about the York girls, William and Kate's attitude has hardened, and even the famously soft-hearted king is now harbouring serious doubts. Enter Meghan, a meticulously careful curator of her public image, with a track record for dumping friends the moment they attract bad publicity. Ask her former best pal, Canadian socialite Jessica Mulroney. Accused of displaying white privilege by a black influencer, Jessica was instantly cut off by the ruthless Ms. Markle, and the once inseparable bosom buddies have not spoken since. But while the Duchess wasted no time in banishing Bea and Eugenie, Harry is hating having to follow suit. Sadly, he's under orders from her ladyship, and even he comprehends the infectious nature of the Andrew sleaze, dragging his daughters down. And while he seeks to improve his own popularity, the dim Duke cannot be seen in their poisonous orbit. Nevertheless, he is shattered by the parting of the ways. When the rest of the royals understand.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go take care a little bit, get her some, get her in the tubby dew and rub her down with some Vixie Dew. Okay, Mama? I love you guys. Have a wonderful. Is that an ant? Have a wonderful night. I probably won't see you tomorrow. Maybe Monday. I may be back tomorrow. I'm going to be taking down my hair, redoing my hair, and getting this out and doing something else. So I may take a break. Thank you, guys. Yes, let me go see about my little one. She doesn't want to take her medicine, so I got to wait until her daddy gets home. But she was like, where's daddy to help? I'm like, he's not here. So anyway, let me go check on my little mini me and get her back to her little selfie self. Thank you, Hudson, for coming up. I appreciate you coming up. Sometimes I get really lonely up here, guys. Thank you. Mwah.